Good afternoon, dear subscribers. Today, we will talk with you about how to beat the opponent in the Slavic Defense. I have already recommended using the Chebanenko option for you, and today we will talk about this in a little more detail. I want to show you a very interesting game in which Levon Aronian, an outstanding Armenian chess player with a rating of 2800, turned out to be the victim. And who do you think turned out to be his abuser? A man named Luke McShane. Forgive me, Luke, but in fact, if you compare Luke and Levon, Levon is certainly a better chess player. But Luke is such a strong horse. This is an English player. He is a multiple winner of the World Olympiads. He was the winner of the World Championship among boys under 10 years old. Well, that's it. And he often participated in vacancy tournaments, but most often he acted as a whipping boy there. Nevertheless, in this game, he managed to implement one interesting novelty, and he punished Levon. Let's take a look. So, how do we get the Chebanenko option? After moves to 4, to 5, knight 3, knight 6, c4, c6, knight c3. Here, Vyacheslav Chebanenko came up with the move a6. Here is such an arrangement of pawns, which allows us to make a capture on the queen side in the future. That is, we threaten them to take dc and carry out the demolition of b5, and in general, this gives black an equal game. How should white react in this situation? Here the moves were tested, and the bishop f4, and the move e3, well, and sometimes c5. That's such an interesting move. We'll talk about these moves a little later. But now we'll talk about the bishop g5 move. Yes, it is rare, but if you are playing against a chess player who regularly uses the queen's gambit, perhaps his hand will reach out to play this way. What are we doing for this move? We concede the center to the opponent, take the dc, and threaten to hold this pawn. Therefore, it is quite logical that in this situation, white will go a4 in order to prevent the move of b5. It is easy to make sure of this, yes, that after the move b5 changes, there is a knight strike on b5, because a b cannot be taken, since the rook on a8 will suffer. Black here plays a6, pushes back the bishop, and still plays b5. Amazing. What's this Luke up to, huh? Levon Aronian thought, surprised, beat b5, ate a knight, and unexpectedly got a b in this position, and he realized that he was the victim of a trap. I gave the horse away, I have to take 8, and the elephant would be 7. Well, what to do in this situation? On a rook and 7, yes. The queen b6 will come, so Levon decided to remove the rook away, and the black moves f5 also discarded the bishop, and they played e6. And if we analyze this position, we can say that for the pure quality that black gave, they received full compensation. First, a powerful elephant that runs diagonally. The ability to create a passing pawn on the queen side. A good black elephant that can threaten the king. That's a plus field e4 for his horse. That is, there are a lot of ideas here. In any case, the program gives full compensation to blacks, even a small advantage. Can you imagine? And here, he could not cope with the management of Lee. See how the party went on. e3. The Shah has arrived. Well, it's bad to close with a horse on d2 because of the horse's lunge on e4. So the king goes on a journey to all the troubles. I also added to myself the lack of castling. We play horse c6, horse e1. This is the option that Levon decided to play because he does not know what to do. And here the horse goes to b3. Black captures all the dominant points on the board, and it becomes difficult for white. White tries to at least tie the knight, but after castling, yes, the knight is untied. It's probably bad to hit f6, because when the queen comes, she'll get closer to the king. Therefore, white is desperately trying to get a countergame. But there are already 4 on the move. Luke McShane closes the lines here, j4 plays. On the horse c2. Neatly protects the knight with the bishop's move e7. And after the knight retreats to e1, the king to e1, the knight climbs, attacks the rook. Lara has to get up to such a not very good position, 4-2, where she absolutely does not perform any role. Meanwhile, black fixes the pawns, and now the knight is ready to rush forward somewhere. The elephant is barely played by white. Development seems to have ended, but castling will still not work. Elephant d6. A very tough move, after which we force either a change, and our queen is released. Plus we are already threatening to crack on the same two. Yes, invariance. Here, but taking on f6 wasn't good. It is clear, because here, after such a change, it is clear that our queen is aimed, yes, at the flank. Here, it is already possible to have an elephant 2 and 3 somehow. And in general, a lot of interesting ideas. Here, and you can retreat with the queen, and push the pawn f forward. That's why we decided to play a white ferry, to cause a crisis, but this crisis turned out to benefit only black. A concrete such counting struggle has begun in the center. The knight jumped to d5, few was hit, black exchanged the bishop for e5, and after taking e, the queen came to an active position. It became clear that point e3 was bursting at the seams. After the move of the elephants in 3, yes, we took on e3, and the knight had to take e3. The queen announced the check, and the king's problems only got worse. What to do? White is trying to close the queen here, and black repeats a couple of moves. Why is this done? And everything is very simple. The fact is that most likely the control was after the 40th move, and now Luke is trying to fill several times with repetitions. Yes, time and live to the 40th move to postpone the game, and then figure out at leisure how to finish off the opponent. Well, after repeating it twice, it is exchanged for 3, further weakening the white king, and then continues the series of queen checks. Check out, and the queen's retreat is at 4. It would seem that black has no quality, but all the lines are at their disposal. It can be seen that the rook can go to the d line. This is one time. Here we can reveal the game even more. Here, and of course the horse, yes, is threatening now with a fork on the c1. Therefore, the queen's move follows as 2, they offer a change, but we eat the pawn on f3. After the move of the rooks, one check arrives at e4, the king f2, and the knight gets closer. In general, a mat mesh begins to weave around the king. You can't leave, right? Knives are won because of the fork on f3, well, we have a much larger pawn, so the rook move followed, and after the check on f3, Levon admitted defeat, because, well, where to go as a king? Only on e1, then another check. Here the queen will not be able to close. The rook will suffer on the same one, and after the move, the knight d is won. The king d is won, the knight returns to b3, and there is no protection against the rook moving to the d line for any move, right? For example, such a check will not fix anything. The king goes aside. Well, for example, after the queen's move 2, the rook d8 just arrives. It can be seen here that the king has the only answer. Go to ts2. Well, I guess we're just finishing the game, right? Check out from here. Change. The king escapes to be alone, and after the queen's move d3, white gets checkmate. Well, that's such an interesting party turned out. Therefore, I highly recommend that you study this game in more detail, and use it against opponents who will react unsuccessfully to your Slavic defense. Yes, they will answer. The elephant will play g5, and then you just put them a debut bomb. Well, I'll say goodbye to that. Good luck to everyone. For now.